So Ruth is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for 7+ years, and I've watched her do some of the most phenomenal things in her business and get these corporate accounts and work on strategy to just crush it with Facebook groups. And I'm so impressed with how she provides value for others. She's always listening to see what can I do to support others in a more unique way. Like, it's just the way you listen to what I need, and then how you're always there providing, like, oh, I thought you might enjoy this, or I thought this marketing contact might help you. Like, all the SEO I originally built for my team was because of you. So I'm so appreciative, and I'm excited for you to talk to everyone today about Facebook groups and how you've leveraged them.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I mean, I think the best part of this business is that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, there's somebody out there always to learn from. And Keri, you're doing a great job bringing all of these people together and making it so easy for people, because I'm sure a lot of people on this call do not have access to the kind of lineup that you brought. And so it's such a valuable thing to be able to learn. So thank you for continuing to support all of us in that way.
Oh, absolutely. I love every second of it. Thank you.
Yay. So I'll jump in. So Facebook, I've done a few fun things where I was able to last year generate about $15 million off of a mom's group that I was on. And so I think that a lot of the things that I talk about, a lot of things that Keri talks about, sometimes it can be very long-term, which people can get very frustrated with. Like, how do I, keep at these things when they take so long? Like the corporate accounts thing that I talked about earlier this morning, it can sometimes take a year or 2 years before you start getting leads. But the fun thing about this Facebook group is that it was generating leads for me like the same day or the next day. So that was really great. And it came about very organically. So I'm a mom. I have 2 boys. They're 7 and 10. And I'm sure all of you guys who have kids have moms groups. So I'm going to talk about that. There's obviously groups for everything, right? I'm sure we're all on Real Closers and a ton of different industry groups. And I mean, I just feel like there's tons and tons of Facebook groups depending on your interest. So this can obviously work for any of the groups that you're part of. But one of the things that I noticed about moms groups especially is that they ask for a lot of opinions and referrals. I mean, they ask for everything. Like, I'm always shocked when somebody will come on and say something like, my son has 104-degree temperature. What should I do? And all these moms are typing, and I'm like, call the doctor, right? Like, get off mom's group right now and call the doctor. So they ask for everything, and especially they ask for realtors, and they're looking around for realtors. So, me being part of this group is not about me. It was never initially about me like, oh, let me figure out how to get into this group so I can get business. It was genuinely, let me share ideas with other moms. Let me see what's going on in the community. And then as I saw people starting to ask for, hey, can you recommend a realtor to me? A lot of my clients who are also moms or families would recommend me. And oftentimes there might be like 78 recommendations for real estate agents. And I would oftentimes get like 5 of the recommendations, which was more than a lot of people. So I would always get the call. So I started looking at that and thinking, okay, A, there's a lot of questions about real estate here. So maybe I can fill a need. And B, there's definitely a lot of people who are already on here, as my cheerleader. So how can I continue to leverage in this way? So what I decided to do first, and I had to play with a lot of different things. So I'm going to give you guys the hack. I first noticed that there was another real estate agent in my marketplace who was not well known. I didn't actually know who she was. And she posted nonchalantly, would anybody be interested in hearing about the market or something like that? It was something very basic. And she had like 70 comments, interested, following, yes, and all of this. And I thought, wow, really? And so it just sent off a big buzzer in my head. So then I jumped on and thought, well, I'll just host a meeting, right? And so I said, like, here, Thursday night, I'm doing this thing, and like crickets, like there was nothing. So I put 2 and 2 together and realized that what we needed to do was first make an offering in it. So this is the hack. So in a very nonchalant way. So I decided, fast forward, that was a failed attempt. My next one, so my background happens to be in interior design. So I used to have an interior design company, and all of us as real estate agents, I imagine, and I don't know all marketplaces, but in San Francisco, where I am, we do a lot of fixing up of houses before we put them on the market. And a lot of times people tell me they want to hire me because of my design background. But I think that all of us are, refinishing floors, painting, changing countertops, changing lights. Like, I call it putting lipstick on a pig. So a lot of times we're putting all of this lipstick on, and then the sellers come back and they say, oh my gosh, I wish I could move back into the house. It looks so good. So, and of course we don't want them to do that, but sometimes they're really shocked at how much we could get done for what feels like a minimal amount of money. So I decided to, as a value proposition, say like, hey ladies, I have a design background and we fix up these properties all the time for sale. Would anybody be interested? So just a casual question. Would anybody be interested in learning some tips and tricks of some ways that you could just prep your house, not for sale, right? Some things that you could do to elevate your place and make it look good. I decided to invite one of my designer friends as well. So that way I didn't get so many of just the design. Like if there were design people, I could refer them to her, and that people weren't trying to call me all of the time for design, because that's not what I do anymore. And I wanted, it just made sense to bring people. But then sure enough, there were all these people, that commented, interested. And so, so then we messaged them separately. We gathered up all of their emails, right? And then we were able to let them know like when the event was. So we sent them an email with the event details, and then we also re-advertised it to the book, now to the Facebook page. So now we have, an extra 70 emails that we didn't have of people who have been exposed to me and like me and potentially are interested in the kind of content that I'm putting out there. Right. And so then we launched the event. There was only about 12 families that came, and, we very much made it like, hey, we'll have drinks and, mom bonding time, all of this stuff. So people definitely came to socialize a little bit together. And then we had this really fun event, and we Facebook Lived it. So that was another really important key, is to make sure that now that you've gathered all these people up, we Facebook Lived it to the group. So not just to my sphere. And then within I think 48 hours, there were thousands and thousands of views on that video. And then in came more referrals. So even though I was initially just in front of these 10 people, which seems, in some ways you might be like, gosh, what a waste of a Saturday, right? But really, I was in front of thousands of people talking about something that was interesting to them and just building value, right? So that was one that we did, and I was just shocked, because I think off of that one event, we had 4 great clients, and my average price point is around 2.6. So these were great clients. So So getting 4 clients for me is a really, really big deal. And I think getting 4 clients off of any event is a big deal. So I was really excited about that and continued to feel encouraged. And so we have since done a few more of those, and we've just changed it up every time. You know, we're always trying to figure out, is there other content? What do people respond to better? But definitely it seems that nonchalant of, I want to do this, gather up some emails. Some of the people who never came reached out later and said, like, I didn't get to come to this. Tell me when you're doing the next one. And then, you know, I think for those of you who have heard me talk before, one of the things that I think is really important about building relationships with people is a continued marketing strategy, right? So now that those emails have come into me, then we are constantly trying to put out great content in different newsletters and stuff, so people feel like they're building a relationship. And so I think that authentic marketing regularly, once you're connecting once you're getting all of these emails, is super, super important. So if, you know, that one of the things that Keri will definitely provide, and she always does, is templates for everything, right? So we'll definitely be happy to show you any of that stuff that you guys want to see. Any of my stuff, I'm always like eyes wide open. I'll provide you anything. You can jump on my newsletter list. So that I think is a very simple Facebook hack, right? So a couple of other things that we did. We did just a general market update. So we said, and you could just kind of look around and what's going on, right? So you want to think about what's current. So one of the ones that we did at the time, I live in Silicon Valley, right? And at the time, there was all of this talk about IPOs, since they've all not done as well as they would have hoped. But there's all this talk about IPOs. And about a year ago, people were rushing the market to buy because they were trying to beat some IPOs. So it was creating a very, very feverish market. So that was something that was current, that was going on at that time. So I said, like, hey, is anyone interested in learning about like the IPO effect on the market? Is it going to have an effect? How long will the effect be? And, you know, anybody interested in getting together and learning about that, or like how to win in a multiple offer situation, anything about San Francisco real estate, feel free to like type in some other things that you might be interested in. Just curious, happy to host, you know, a brunch at one of my listings so that we can all get together and talk about these things. And then sure enough, boom, 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 all of these people interested. So you can just easily take IPO effect, insert coronavirus, you know, whatever is going on, there's always something going on, right? So something global, something in your market, Amazon moving to town, whatever it might be, how is that going to affect the market? And people are really, really fascinated by real estate. So I think that people definitely want to come together and talk about it. And then, you know, I think that the other thing is just being active in general on the groups. And hopefully it is in a genuine way. Like for me, it's not hard to, you know, if somebody says like, hey, where can I buy, you know, the best baby carrier or whatever it might be, it's not hard for me to, you know, it's genuine for me to be like, hey, how about this, or try this, or whatever. And I love like reading the stories of other moms and other families. So it does not feel like work to me. And I think it's important that whatever group that you're participating in, it's a genuine thing where it's a fit, because I feel like people can see that. So if you don't have kids, probably joining a mom's group is probably not the right one. But I think that there definitely is a gold mine in there, and there's a lot of ways to keep working that system. And then, you know, just the other day, someone asked, you know, hey, there was this like question to moms, does anybody think that this coronavirus is going to have an effect on the market? And are we going to be in a buyer's market? And all these moms, you know, that have no idea are chiming in with their thoughts. And then there's quite a few real estate agents chiming in with their thoughts. one of the things that I was really fortunate to have done that day is I've been doing this interview series with trying to use my time wisely. I've been doing this interview series with different businesses. So far we've done, I think, 6 or 8 of them. I think we've sent out 4. And one of them that I had done, it was the first one that I had done, was with my friend Bill Vlahos, who's a financial advisor, financial planner. And we had a 40-minute conversation about the effect of the coronavirus on the real estate market and on the financial market. And, you know, he was kind of interviewing me, I was interviewing him. We were talking about, you know, the state of the market, which was exactly her question, and where was it going to go? And so I answered real briefly, like, hey, I thought you might be interested in this interview that I just did. I hadn't even published it yet, but that I just did. So if you're interested, check it out. And I just popped that in there. So being able to utilize things like that is really important. And that's another, this is not a Facebook per se hack, but that is another tip I will give you, is that doing something like that now, right? Like while we're in this time, and I saw someone posted on like Lab Codes Agents today, like, hey, do you think people are going to information overload from too much free content? And I definitely have had that thought, because I've actually been like saving stuff. There's just so much like free content out there, and good content, right? So it's like, do you need to be doing another thing? And I would say yes, and for a couple of reasons. One is the content doesn't have to just be good now, right? So what we're doing with that content is we're also creating evergreen content, which is content that can live on your site forever, right? So we are going to put various interviews with mortgage brokers, trust attorneys. The one that just went out most recently was my friend Jenny, that does, she does really, really high-end construction work, and kind of is basically the project manager on that work. And she happens to work with a lot on like anywhere between like $5 and about $15 million projects, right? So I got her on to talk about what are the pitfalls in construction, what are the kind of things that you're looking for in contracts, what are things that are people should know that can't afford to hire you, that can help them on their construction project. And so I've had, since publishing that 2 days ago, I've had 2 or 3 people reach out to me and say like, oh my God, I'm so glad that you did this. Like, I want to talk to Jenny. So they want to talk to her about hiring her. She also has like a coaching thing for those of us who can't afford a $5 to $10 million project, coaching component where it's more of like an online module series that helps people with that. So she's gotten quite a bit of business off of that. And what's going to happen, because I basically have exposed her to my entire list of clients and put that out for her, she's going to get this business. And then what's going to happen the next time she needs help with a client that has a $10 or $5 million project that has some questions about selling it? Of course, I'm going to be her go-to, right? And I would be anyway, because we've constantly created that relationship where we're providing value. But it's great content for my website. It's great content for now. So getting something out there now, and then me utilizing my time really wisely when I have a little bit more of it, due to a shift in the way that we're able to be out and about right now, has just been amazingly fulfilling, and just also is, I think, building business for her and building business for me, and is just going to be this gift that keeps giving back, right? Because it's going to be on my website, it's going to be on YouTube. We're going to find a way to boost it up in YouTube, so that I think for search engine optimization, like, it's going to be something that people are constantly landing on, whether or not it's on my site or there. And then it's going to just be this gift that keeps giving. So I love that. And then, even finding a way to put those onto the Facebook groups, I think is really, really a great way to continue to provide value for the community without being overly salesy. And, you know, just making sure it's about, this is my value gift to you. So with that, does anyone have any questions? Let me see what's here. Do I do interviews virtually? Steve, yes, right now. I do it all over Zoom, which has been fantastic. It's really comfortable, I think, for everybody. And so I just set up a time, and it's super, super easy. And usually it's anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. And then I send it to Revolve is the company, and they will actually transcribe all of it. And then I will have that transcription that will go on my website. And for those of you who are not super up on search engine optimization, having all of that transcription is really, really good for your search engine optimization. So I put that on my website. I put it on the YouTube video, and then there's like all of those keywords and everything in there that's really going to boost. And if you look up selling a home in San Francisco, top agent in San Francisco, best realtor in San Francisco, any keyword, you'll find me organically, like in the top 3. So search engine optimization is something that I figured out early, and we've done no black hat tricks, but we've managed to be very, very consistent with providing valuable content, which is what Google actually ranks highly. My website, I'll type it in for you. So it's Ruth Krishnan, which is my name.com, and I just put it into the chat for you. Do I use my business or personal page in these groups? So I use my personal page in those groups, right? I do have a business page, and I have a personal page. For those of you guys who know Facebook very well, the business pages, they're not getting visibility these days at all. You could have like 1,000 people, and I think for every 1,000, you might get one person who sees your messages. So we do a little bit on there, and I do not flood my personal page with like, I probably this is a controversial thing to say. I know tons of realtors do it, but I don't flood my personal page with tons of real estate content. Like that's not who I want to be. I will very lightly sprinkle in real estate content into my personal page, but it's probably 10% or something of the content. And I'm not huge. I'm not like constantly doing all this stuff on social media. And I could do better with that. I don't really want to. And I'm sure there's lots of business in it, but the moms groups or these groups like that are different, right? So it's like, I could be a lot more active there than I am on my regular page, right? So to me, that's just a more authentic way to operate, which is how I try to live my life. How many groups are you in? I have no idea. It's probably like 20 or something like that. But with the moms group, I'm in 2. But there's one in San Francisco that has like 12,000, I think about 12,000 people on it. And it's very, very active. So like if I posted something on there like, hey, recently I was like Instapot, genuine thing. I ordered an Instapot. I have more time than I've had. So I thought I'd figure this thing out. And, there's probably like 30 people that commented on different things that I needed to know about Instapot. If I posted that on my own page, there'd probably be 2. So it's really, really, really awesome. Thank you for the compliment on the website. Let's see, what else questions do you have here? Are your recorded interviews attached to a blog for SEO? Yes, I think I talked about that. So we do the transcript, and then they go on a blog, and so it's all there. So in addition to the blog, what I was going to do, what I'm working on doing, it's not done yet, but they're at the top of the blog, and then there will be some where it goes onto like either the buyer or the seller page, where it'll stay forever, right? Because as the evergreen content, like the trust attorney, different stuff like that, where it's things that people always need to know, as opposed to the update on the coronavirus in the financial market is just, that's like here and gone, right? Reading your Okay, I think those are all of the questions. Do you send friends requests to these people? Yes. So when somebody says follow or that they're interested, then I have a virtual assistant who will go in and say, hey, I saw that you're interested in the event. May I get your email address so that I can, keep in touch with you about the details of the event? And then we take that email address, we friend them, and then we take that email address and import it into everything else that we do. And so forevermore, they are getting our contact. So it's not a rev.com. Yes, Michael, that is it. So that'll give you a transcript. I think it's $60 or something like that. You do have to, I have one of my assistants on the team that reads through all of those transcripts afterwards, because they can feel a little bit unnatural, kind of like if you don't read your text when you're dictating, and then all of a sudden it's like says crazy things, right? So you definitely want to read something before it goes out. Any special hacks for the website? Hi, Keri, welcome back. She doesn't have her mic on. Okay, any special hacks for the website, SEO and appearance for engagement? As far as special hacks for SEO, I mean, I hate to break it to you. It's really like how to rank really highly on SEO is just doing the hard work, which is just providing really valuable content. There are black hat tricks, and you can hire people to do all kinds of tricky things. But, as I mentioned, our SEO is phenomenal and we're not doing tricky things. So it's really just, making sure that you've got that good content that's going on there all of the time. And if you guys, as you start doing more and more listings, like we did 67 transactions last year, and about half of them were listings. So say 30 listings, all of those listings are going up on my site. And then all of that traffic is coming onto my site. So Google's like, man, this girl, like we're getting between 5,000 and 10,000 visitors a month on the site. So Google's like, this girl is legit, right? It's like fresh visitors all of the time. So we really have the ability to generate a lot more traffic than most businesses because of the listing side of our business. Cold prospecting, I do not. Yeah. I could do much better in the cold prospecting bucket. My manager told me one time, I don't know if this was the best advice, but I told her, like, I don't really like to prospect. And she said, seems like you're doing great, so don't. And so I was like, okay.
Sounds great.
Right. So I could probably do a lot greater if I did better at that. But I'll be honest, I could do a lot better. That's the truth.
Well, I will say one thing about that though, Ruth. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I think that there are a lot of people who could not even conceptualize how you've treated Facebook groups, corporate accounts, like how you've structured the value you bring to people. And if you were so busy doing prospecting and like calling expireds and withdrawals and doing all these other things, you wouldn't have moved towards your strength. And really that has just continued to bring you repeat clients, tons of referrals, like these whale accounts. And so I applaud you for leaning into your strength. It's not everybody's strength. That's why a lot of people are here today to figure out like what can they take from this menu of options to grow their business. But I think that it's certainly not the right decision for everybody to get on and do calling of expireds and withdrawals, right? You'd be much better planning your presentation to go into Salesforce, right?
Yeah, and I do some, like, so one of the things that I do prospect some B2B business on a regular basis. So my whole world and everyone in my mastermind groups and everyone who knows me, they know, like, I want to meet other people who are in high places. Like, I've trained them for this. So constantly people are like, hey, Ruth, I don't know if you know this like amazing architect, but if not, you guys should know each other. And then I'll say like, oh my gosh, let's get together for lunch. Or right now it's, let's have a Zoom date to get to know each other better. So I do a lot of that but I'm not like calling and just being like, hey, I saw your name in the phone book. Like, I'm Ruth. And yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine you ever doing that. And I don't think it would be a good idea. Good for you. You're like, oh,
thank you.
Shoot. Awesome. Well, you guys, everybody, virtual round of applause for Ruth. Thank you so much. You are amazing. I appreciate all you bring to this group. And I am really looking forward to doing that course together. It's going to be awesome. If you guys weren't here earlier, I don't know if my can go. Whoop, can stick that up for a second. There's a course Ruth and I are doing together, and we're going to be talking about the exact, yay, some of you guys are saying you already pre-ordered, so that's great. It's going to be exactly how we've done corporate accounts. We're going to give you all of the presentations so you can just copy them, all of the email outreach that we've done to kind of warm up some of those relationships, etc. So a lot of you jumped on it. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Ruth. We will talk to you soon, and hopefully I get to
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Too. Bye.
I hope so. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest HyperFast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for staying to the end of our video. For more videos like this, click here. And if you're interested in learning more about personally coaching with me or the HyperFast coaching program, click here. If you're looking to get notifications when we do a new video, make sure you subscribe below. See you soon.